aortic arch comes over the branch here of the trachea. It's the bronchus, the left primary bronchus. Okay, so we have ascending aorta. So as blood's leaving these are the atria here in the ventricles, and in the atria right in here you have this pacemaker, and then deep inside you have the AV node. Also in this left atrium you can find the opening for the coronary sinus. You know, this is the smaller area of the red. It's the inferior vena cava, but that's the coronary sinus draining blood from the heart back into the right atrium. The muscle here is the pectinate muscle. It's all cardiac muscle, but it's pectinate muscle. Down in the ventricles, it's called the cardae. Let's see, what is it? Trabecular cardae is the muscle. Okay, it shows the valves, etc. But we have superior vena cava here, and then the atria and the ventricles. And now on the pulmonary artery and vein, remember that's reversed as far as the colors. Red always means oxygenated, no matter where it is, and blue means deoxygenated. This is a vein, this is an artery. But with the pulmonary, here you have the pulmonary trunk of the pulmonary artery is deoxygenated, carrying blood out to the lungs, these larger blue vessels. And then it goes to the lungs, gets the oxygen, becomes bright red, comes back through pulmonary veins. So these smaller vessels here, the four of them, left and right pulmonary veins, go back to the left atrium, and then past the bicuspid, the left ventricle, and then out the aorta, and you have to look under here to see the simular valves of the aorta. Then it's the ascending aorta. The only two vessels of the ascending aorta are left and right coronary, going to the heart itself. It's just the left one comes down, becomes the anterior descending, and then it comes around as the circumflex. And then I'm sorry, this is the left one right here. This is the anterior interventricular, and then circumflex goes this way. And then the right one comes on around and becomes the marginal and the inferior descending in the back. Some people, the left one is a major, some people the right coronary is major, and some people it's about equal amount of tissue covered by those. But the ascending aorta only has two branches, left and right coronary. Then you have the aortic arch, and the three branches off the arch. The first one, brachiocephalic. What's another name for that?
Innominate.
Innominate. And then that innominate is only one innominate artery, off brachiocephalic. There are two innominate veins, but one innominate artery. And that one innominate artery, brachiocephalic, becomes the right common carotid and right subclavian. And the right common carotid is going to go on up, become the internal carotid and the external, and internal goes to the circle. Subclavian comes on around this way. The vertebrals are going to come off the subclavians. So on the right side, it has to come brachiocephalic, then subclavian, and then vertebral, which comes up the neck. And on the left side, it would be the left subclavian, and then the vertebral. Okay, but aortic arch, three major branches: brachiocephalic, left common carotid, left subclavian. Then it becomes the descending thoracic aorta. And the descending thoracic aorta has parietal branches around the periphery, such as the intercostals between the ribs and the top of the diaphragm, superior phrenic, mediastinal, just the space in the chest. And the visceral branches would go to the sac around the heart, which would be the pericardial, sac around the lungs, the pleural, and to the esophagus, esophageal, would be the brachial artery to the left and right branches of the brachial. Okay, anyway, as it comes on down, then it passes through the diaphragm, and then gets to the descending abdominal aorta, and that's when we use this big mannequin with the urinary model. I'll just put it right here. You guys can see it. So that would be diaphragm would be here, and so then you have the branches. Now, on the descending abdominal aorta, you have the parietal branches and the visceral branches. Parietal would be to the underside of the diaphragm, would be the inferior phrenic, and then to the lumbar region, and then there's a middle sacral. And we have to look at different mannequins to see all this one. This one shows the middle sacral. Here's the middle sacral, and here's the lumbar branches, and then inferior phrenic. Those would be parietal branches. Because they can go around the periphery, the outer edge. The visceral branches are these, like celiac, and this one shows celiac. It's number 2. Here it shows it before. You see the 3 parts that come off. But here's the celiac. This shows the three part, the splenic to the spleen, gastric to the small curvature of the stomach, right here, and then hepatic to the liver. The red for the liver. So those are the three branches of the celiac. Then you have suprarenal to the adrenal glands. Some models, I think this one does show it right here. Maybe it's number 11, a little red there. You don't see it coming off here, but it does. And then you have the superior, the renal, left and right. Those are paired. That means you have two of them. Celiac, you just have one. Superior mesenteric, suprarenal, you have two. Kidneys, you have two. That's to the renal. Superior mesenteric is going to send branches. One comes off. And notice it fits over this left renal vein. Maybe that gives it support, I don't know. Then it branches, and it's going to send a branch to the lower curvature of the stomach, to all the small intestines, and then to all the way to the transverse colon. And then you have the left and right gonadal to the gonads, ovarian to the ovaries, spermatic to the testes, or just gonadal. And then the inferior mesenteric. And inferior mesenteric could either be in the front, to the side, or the back. Evidently it's the back here, we don't see it. But here we do see it right here. That's the inferior mesenteric. And that's going to go to the transverse colon, and we have, like right over here, here's the transverse colon. Sorry, that. Okay, the transverse colon has branches from both the superior mesenteric and inferior mesenteric arteries and veins. So artery brings the oxygenated blood with the food, and the vein takes the deoxygenated blood away with the harmful materials, and also some of the good materials, but it drains it away. So if you look at the small intestine model, the red would be branches. They all have lots and lots of names, but if you just know the major branch, the branches from the superior mesenteric artery. So which branch off the descending abdominal aorta is servicing these organs? So you've got those main, and this would be superior mesenteric. And then you look here on the colon arch, here you've got the pancreas and the duodenum here, to try to figure out, where are these red and purple? They in this model they do the purple because it's part of the hepatic portal system. But it still would be a vein. Look for the appendix. The appendix is your guide mark. So everything on the appendix side, that would be branches of the superior mesenteric. If it's red, it's the superior mesenteric artery. If it's this purple, it's the superior mesenteric vein. Then the other side would be inferior mesenteric. So look at the appendix A. That's going to be the superior, and the other side is the inferior. Then, if you look on the back of this one, you see there's the pancreas, and you see this purple. This is coming from the spleen, so that's the splenic vein, and then this big one here is the superior mesenteric. The small one is the inferior mesenteric that's draining blood from this inferior side over here, this inferior mesenteric vein. It's going to drain it into the splenic vein, and then the superior mesenteric vein is going to join with the splenic to form the hepatic portal vein. The hepatic portal vein then goes into the liver. Everything on this one, a couple of them they draw is purple. Now, when it gets to the liver, all right, you're going to have a branch of the hepatic artery carrying oxygen and oxygenated blood, and it's going to be right side by. Excuse me. I thought I had turned that off, but in case it's my mom. Melissa's mom. Sorry. Hello?